and here are some mixtapes that you put together of the music that you collect.
Yeah.
So how would you describe the style of music that you go look for?
A lot of the stuff that we, like I say we because I have a couple of friends that help me out with gathering up and archiving some of the stuff. A lot of stuff we look for is like the early 90s, and even up to early 80s, late 80s stuff, all Bay Area. A lot of my friends are into collecting other areas too, same year ranges, but a lot of the stuff that I'm into right now is more of like the G-Funk, gangster rap type, early Bay Area stuff, anything that was put out, solo, which a lot of stuff was back then. And recently we've been getting into a lot of finding demos and stuff, like when I linked up with Dave and he had that Selsky demo and then a couple like promo only copies. So we're trying to really find like songs that people may know that maybe there's a different version of that never got released or never got put out for everyone to hear. So
a lot of music is from like 94, that era.
Yeah,
around then.
94 is a pretty big era.
So in 1994, were you listening to hip-hop, rap music? What age were you?
Yeah, 1994, I believe I was probably only about 11 or 12, but I had a bunch of friends on my block, because it was a different time during then, and they were definitely into like the Bone Thug stuff, Eazy-E, Boys in the Hood, Ice Cube, and then it wasn't until later I was actually in like a punk rock band, probably like when I was 15, 16, or a little bit younger than that, and we did a lot of local shows around here, and that's where I kind of met a lot of like the rappers from East Palo Alto.
What was the name of the punk band?
The Scraps.
The Scraps.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a small local band here.
So you met a lot of East Palo Alto rappers?
Yeah, East Palo Alto rappers.
Of which there's so many, right?
Yeah, there's a lot of good ones over there.
So you're going to say Sean T?
Sean T for sure. Sean T's a good
Chunk.
A good guy. Chunk, yeah. I've actually was kind of sad. I heard that Chunk might have passed away a couple months ago, and then it was a big ordeal where he didn't, But yeah, Chunk. It's crazy because a lot of the artists that are from that time, like. And actually, I wanted to mention, I don't know if you remember a group called Female Funk.
Sure.
Pam and,
that was Pam the Funksters,
yeah,
right.
and Gwen.
Yeah.
Gwen was actually a really good friend of mine, and she actually worked for me for a little bit.
East Palo Alto, right?
East Palo Alto also. So that's where I kind of got some in with her, and she. I just actually found another copy of her tape, I want to say last week. So she doesn't even have copies of that stuff. But
so now, on your Instagram, some of the more recent ones that you have, what makes them such prized possessions?
I think just.
And can you name two of the most recent ones that you put up?
Probably stuff from Stockton. I put up a lot because I've kind of touched bases with the guy who used to own Funk Mob Records and Tapes, Roderick Rodee. He went by. That one, there's one of his early. It's an '87. I would call it like a mini album. It has like four or five songs on it that no one has, and I'd say that one is pretty much probably like the most rarest one that I've found. And I found that one from a guy who collects baseball cards in Michigan. He happened to just open a box and he's like, "Oh, look what I found." And I was like, "Oh, would you sell that to me?" And he said, "Yeah, for sure." But even when I sent that to him, he's like, "Wow, I can't believe that even is still out there." And that's what I was getting back to what I was saying, is a lot of these artists don't realize that their music is still out there and still influencing people from here, overseas. And I have there's a couple, you just said you were down there with MC Wicks, and
right.
I've talked to him a couple times about some of the artists that he's grew up listening to and were influencing him. And, Insane and D-Mac, you posted a picture of their cassette, and actually I have 2 copies of that cassette, which is really hard for collectors to find. And through like just meeting people and networking, I've talked a few times with Moselle Dixon down there. He's in the Dixons, and he was the producer of all the beats and all the.
And you mentioned Walter Z, City Hall.
Walter Z, yeah. And,
now, do you know John Leatherwood?
Yeah, yeah.
Because he is like you. He is like such an expert in digging, and he also does similar to you. Puts out little mixtapes off the findings. Yeah. So you want to talk a bit about these two here?
Yeah.
So this one here?
That's the pink colorful color. That's the second volume. Yeah. The first one I kind of, you can see the first one there. I took a little bit of Selsky's Living in the Bay style artwork from that one. This one was actually supposed to be like a little copy of Little Bruce's album where he's kind of leaning on the wall in the beginning. I have a good friend in Italy that does a lot of hand styles for the Hispanic rappers in LA. Like the crazy hand style Alfonso. He did all the art for me, but a lot of this stuff is just classics that people hear. Maybe I throw in a couple one or twosies that might be on a tape that's harder to find, or maybe someone hasn't digitized the audio yet. And you know, the first one's a little more rough. The second one.
So Selsky's going to be on one of those then.
Selsky is probably on one of these.
I really like Selsky, aka Two Tuck.
Yeah, Selsky he's a legend. I met him a bunch of times. He does a lot of concerts for, you know, I have a motorcycle shop, so obviously there's a couple motorcycle clubs he'll do concerts for, and I've seen him out there with Black Sea and RBL Posse.
Yeah.
He's a good guy. Yeah, but he's, you know, there's even another tape, his first Inner City.
92?
Yeah, it's a black and white cover. That's the one everyone really wants, but you know, that was something that he told me he made maybe 150 copies and handed them out. So.
Right.
Yeah, so you never know that, and most of them end up overseas, to be honest. But
now, of all of your collection, what is your most prized Bay Area rap tape?
I would have to say it's probably those Looking for the Dope Man tapes, Insane and D-Mac, just because of how many people overseas want that tape and how many offers I've had for people to buy it, and they also did a couple represses of it, so you know, it's definitely something that people want, and that, and the other one, like I said, the guy that I talked to that on Funk Mob Records, Young Mac T had a tape. You posted it on your Instagram.
Yeah.
He's probably my second favorite, because those two tapes are just ones you can A to B through. You know, you can definitely not have any skips on that one. Yeah, I think everyone had a dream to aspire to be the next, you know, Ice Cube or Dr. Dre, but it crossed over well for them because they were kind of the first ones to do it, and then some of the other groups that were a little too hardcore for mainstream play, they didn't want to settle down, you know. They wanted their music to be for the neighborhoods and the people that were friends with them, and everyone wanted to be known as like the hardest rapper, had the best lyrics. So and you know, compilations like Herm Lewis, you know, he put out a lot of compilations in the city, and I think that is what kind of brought the songs that had more hooks, you know, to the market. So people were like, oh, okay, this song has like a hook, and that's why you see some of the artists that he had under his wing kind of went the extra step as far as the Trump tape type artists. But yeah, like the Fresno guys, like he just repressed me a couple CDs right there. I have them for John Leatherwood. Actually, gonna ship them out tomorrow.
Okay.
Yeah, they're right here. CD Underground Records.
Okay.
Yeah, Insane and D-Mac, and then Rip the Jacker, who actually passed away, but he was a good family friend of Moselle.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, no problem.